Alright, this video has been a long time in the making, but we are back for yet another tier list, this one being the most popular niche fragrances ever. So I can't wait to get into it, and I swear I will in just a sec, but we just have some housekeeping that we just have to lay out here for you. Like, how did we come to these 22 fragrances specifically? Each of these fragrances have at least 5,000 votes on everyone's favorite fragrance website, FRAGRANTICA. I figured I just use that site as a metric for just what might be the most popular niche fragrances ever, although these might not be. Like, I don't know what the sales are, it's just there's too many sites to kind of go through just to see what actually sells all time. Again, who knows? And another thing I want to say based on that is that there's not a whole lot of recency bias here either, because there's a few more fragrances out there that have been really hot recently that aren't quite at 5,000 votes minimum yet to make a list like this. So who knows, maybe I do a video like that in a few months, a few years, we'll see, once there are more things to add to this list. And the last thing I want to mention before I start ranking these is that there are also no designer exclusives on this list. So stuff that might have at least 5,000 votes or more, we're talking Chanel Coromandel, we're talking Oud Wood from Tom Ford, Tobacco Vanille, stuff like that. Maybe I do a separate video for those in the near future, but for now we are going to do niche fragrances by brands that primarily make fragrance. So without further ado, let's get into it. Roll intro, roll video. Alright, so the first fragrance we have here is Ambre Sultan by Serge Lutens. And if you don't know, Ambre Sultan is a really aggressive amber with really smoky resins, and although also sweet, has just more interesting bitter facets to it, stuff like bay leaf as well, very camphorous. So it's definitely not an everyday fragrance, but for an artistic take on amber, I think this stuff is really good, especially for the price. And without it, who knows, maybe we wouldn't have stuff like Tom Ford Amber Absolute as far as, you know, primarily amber fragrances out there. So you know what, I'm gonna give Ambre Sultan an A tier. And that's another thing, I think you guys are seeing the scale here as far as how we are doing this. We're only going to get as low as C tier here this time. I'm not going to be as ruthless as I have been in the past regarding brands, regarding fragrances. So I kind of want to assess how these fragrances are made versus how they are also received by you guys, because that's how they actually made this list in the first place, garnering that many votes as a result. So yeah, forgive me if I'm taking it easy, or if it seems like I am, I just think I kind of have to. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. Whoa, it's Aventus. Alright, so everyone knows this one. We're talking that trademark pineapple blackcurrant opening. Very upbeat, yet very interesting, and then when you follow that up with smokier facets like from the birch specifically, and then a really nice musk, it's just a really nice go anywhere, do anything scent, and one that is upbeat, happy, yet alpha at the same time. So you can't go wrong with Aventus. The one thing holding it back, of course, is its batch variation, but that's with all creeds. It is what it is. But I also will say that since Aventus sells so gosh darn much, that they sell through batches and thus make more batches way more often, so it feels like the inconsistency is that much more apparent. But in spite of that, I feel like that's a feather in the cap of Creed for selling all these bottles, and all the Aventus bros love it, so what can I say? Like, there's a subculture within a subculture that Creed has kind of facilitated, so yeah, it is what it is. So with all that being said, and since I don't believe that we would have such a crazed underground fragrance community without this scent, I think we have to put Creed Aventus in the S+. Okay, so let's move on to Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540 now. There's definitely dedicated fragrance groups on Facebook, for example, to this scent. So it's not just Aventus that kind of has that cult following for sure. And on top of that, since this one is more of a unisex scent, one that doesn't specifically thoroughly feel masculine or feminine, I feel like girls also wear this stuff just as rapidly as men do. They're that enthused about this fragrance. But what is this fragrance? We're talking if red crystals had a smell, they'd be like this. Sugary, kind of sparkles in your nose, got some smooth woods in the back as well, and this stuff just explodes off of my skin. Now, I've never owned this scent just because it's not the kind of scent I want to walk around like, but again, I can definitely see why this stuff has caught on so fast, and I think it's here to stay. So you know what? I think Baccarat Rouge 540, also S+. Alright, let's move on to one of my favorites in BYREDO's Bal D'Afrique. And Bal D'Afrique to me is the happiest scent on this list, maybe the happiest scent I own. This is a floral that even floral haters are kind of into. The marigold at the top, very sweet, and then when you combine that with the juicy lemon, oh, To me, it's to die for. And whenever you spray this on, you kind of just go into whatever you're going to do that day with just such enthusiasm. You kind of want to go outside, even if you know it's not going to be a nice day out, you kind of want it to be. That's the kind of mood Bal D'Afrique puts me in. And yeah, sure, the performance stinks, but of course I don't want it projecting too much more than it's supposed to. But a part of me still wants it to last longer. And I think most Bal D'Afrique wearers would also agree with this. So it's not perfect, but I love it so gosh darn much that I'm going to put it in the S tier. I know a lot of avant-garde, ardent, niche people are gonna be like, whoa, where's the performance? Oh, it's not creative enough. Again, not everything has to explode off your skin. There's nothing wrong with wearing an office-friendly fragrance that is also high quality as well, and that you can also spend a lot of money on too. So yeah, Bal D'Afrique for the win. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on to the next one. Here we have Nasomatto Black Afgano. Black Afgano, if you don't know, is actually modeled after Afghan black hash. So we're not talking that brown or old school hash, we're talking that really dark stuff. Don't ask me how I know this, but I definitely do. And yeah, as far as an artistic take on what that stuff actually is, I definitely think that they did a good job here, or Alessandro Coltieri did. So you have that incense in there, you have that oud in there, just to enhance the darker effects and facets to accentuate the cannabis that's already there. I feel like this is such a fun avant-garde take on hash, but it's definitely not for the faint of heart. It's definitely not an everyday fragrance. It's definitely not something that I would personally wear, but as far as execution and I guess reception, I have to respect it. So you know what, Black Afgano also gets an 8 here. Moving on to the next fragrance, and here we have Cedrat Boise by Mancera. Now Cedrat Boise is one of those derivative fragrance, of course, from Aventus. Kind of just takes what Aventus was doing with a fruity opening, using its own fruits and then following it up with its own woods. Like, fragrance is so cool that you can kind of mimic the vibe of a prior fragrance by using different notes. So this isn't a 100% clone per se, but it is definitely a fragrance that exists because Aventus existed prior. So here we have a more pronounced citrus opening, but there's also most notably blackcurrant still there to keep it most grounded in the Aventus opening roots. Follow that up with woods that I can definitely for sure tell here that this is a much more budget take on Aventus. I'm still not going to give it shit for that, because again, this is not something that they are pitching at Aventus price either. This is for the bros that are balling on a budget, and I can definitely respect that, because I'm one of those people who sees anyone wearing fragrance as someone who's on my side. Like, this channel is out here to spread the gospel of fragrance. I don't care if it's a clone fragrance that you're wearing, a niche fragrance, something that you don't even know the name of. But if you enjoy smells, I think more people should. So yeah, shout outs to you. So I'm still going to respect the scent, although it's not for me per se. Cedrat Boise gets a B tier. It's just clearly too similar to something on this list, so I would feel bad if I put it higher than that. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. This one is Serge Lutens Chergui. And guys, Chergui slaps. It is definitely one of the OG tobacco fragrances out there. Tobacco, honey, other sweeter facets. It's just yummy, cozy goodness. And what I think is most notable about this scent, especially in comparison to other tobacco, is that touch of hay note in the back. And I think that's actually a lot of fun. A little bit bitter, a little bit grassy, of course. And it's there to provide some sort of backbone, so it's not too sweet. To me, it just adds this touch of uniqueness, and I gotta respect Serge for this. And perfumer Christopher Sheldrake, of course, I think his style for what this Serge Lutens brand is just otherworldly and so much fun. So to this day, I think Serge Lutens as a brand still slaps, and it's primarily because of this fragrance. So Chergui gets an S tier. Now moving on to a fragrance I definitely wouldn't wear myself. It's Parfums de Malle Delina, and that's not a shot at this fragrance, it's just one that is too womanly for me. Yes, I know it is advertised towards women, but that won't stop someone like me usually. It's just too sweet in candyish ways that I just don't personally want to smell like. That being said, would I want my girlfriend to smell like this? Hell yeah. We're talking lychees that I already love, a little bit of a vegetal freshness and rhubarb, all on top of this musky cashmere base. I just think it smells awesome if I were to get a whiff of this off of her. So you know what? I'm going to respect Delina. One of the best selling fragrances from one of the best-selling niche brands recently in Parfums de Marly, Delina gets an A tier. Next up, here we arguably have the evolution of amber fragrances from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is Grand Soir, and unlike Ambre Sultan, this stuff is a much yummier take on amber. So we got amber, we got vanilla, we got benzoin. Benzoin being a much more smokier, darker take on vanilla. It's a resin. Altogether, I just feel like this stuff smells so luxurious, decadent, yet still interesting. And yeah, I know that there are a lot of ardent lovers of this scent too, and I feel like I have to respect this scent as a result for them. So you know what? I'm gonna give Grand Soir also an S tier. Next up on the list now we have Creed Green Irish Tweed, and I mentioned already that I don't think we have perfume culture per se online if it wasn't for a scent like Aventus, but we arguably wouldn't have a Creed and thus an Aventus if it wasn't for Green Irish Tweed. Creed as we know it, I mean. So this Olivier Creed creation, shoutouts Pierre Bourdon, features watery notes, green notes, all done to perfection. The lemon verbena just smells really nice up top. The violet leaf in the mid, definitely done in a green yet refreshing way as well. Everything that is said about this scent, it definitely deserves all that adulation. Yes, I know it's not as sexy to own nowadays with as many dupes over the years and whatnot, but the dupes go hand in hand. It's because this scent is that darn good that these dupes do exist. So it still won't stop me from putting Green Irish Tweed in the S tier. Not the most me kind of Creed scent, but I have to respect the fact that it has so much legacy in the last 40 years, especially in comparison to pretty much all other niche fragrances, barring maybe Aventus. Next up, we have another Parfum de Marly. This one is Herod. And Herod's cool because it kind of takes up after that vanilla and tobacco DNA most made famous by stuff like Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford, as well as stuff like Spice Bomb from Victor and Rolf. So we're talking just spicy and warm fragrances in general, sweet and tobacco-y fragrances as well, all done in an even more digestible way for the audience because y'all really love this as far as the feedback goes. So I do get why this stuff has a whole lot of votes. I do feel like this is what really put Parfum de Marly on the map, and now the brand is a force, so I'm going to respect that. I'm going to put Herod in the A tier. Alright, moving on to Montale now with Intense Café, and this stuff to me is the most misleading scent on the list, bar none. Sure, you get coffee initially with the scent, which is what a lot of people are drawn to, but then it's followed up with a really nice sweet rose as well as vanilla, just an overall yummy scent. However, why I say it is misleading because I think the coffee isn't as resonant as I'd want it to be. Like, this is mainly a sweet rose and vanilla scent, if anything, but still great entry-level niche scent. I have to respect it, but because I don't respect it from S or higher, you know what, I'm still going to respect it enough at B tier. So yeah, can't say I'm shocked that both Mancera and Montale's on this list are at B. If you didn't already know, yes, they are part of the same umbrella. But moving on now, here we go with the first and only Amouage on this list, and I swear I thought we were going to see at least 2 or 3 of them here, but we don't. This one is Interlude Man, of course, and I feel like Interlude Man is one of those scents that people check out for novelty because it is the Blue Beast after all, an aggressive, smoky, ashy, incense take. Add in some oregano there, and it's fairly nuclear and weird. Like, people will definitely inquire about this scent if you walk into a room, or you'll at least see an expression on their face. Again, these aren't always positive reactions, but again, if you are looking for a reaction, Interlude Man will definitely garner that. But personally, since it's not in my top 3 Amouages, I don't think I can respect this scent enough as some of the other long-standing fragrances on this list. So you know what, Interlude Man's also going to gets an A tier. Alright, less than 10 cents to go here, and here we have the final Parfum de Marly. This one is Layton, and Layton's really what brought the bros into Parfum de Marly, if you ask me. A go anywhere, do anything scent that still has a sweetness, that still has the vanilla that Parfum de Marly was already known for. So lighter, fresher, and aromatic facets preceded by that opening are just awesome as far as crowd pleasing. That apple is really nice. And then again, you follow it up with some cardamom, some vanilla. These are just ingredients that people like, and I understand why this stuff has the popularity it has. And hey, if you want some more complex nuance to the scent, you can also get the exclusive version. Parfum de Marly is definitely hooking you up with options. That being said, this still isn't a scent for me, but again, I really do like how this is such an everyday wear if you want it to be. Just easy on the trigger if you do, because it definitely performs enough. So again, because it introduced that many more people to this brand, kind of picked up where Herod left off, and just absolutely ran with it even more, I'm actually going to give Layton an S tier. Now moving on to another fragrance I wouldn't wear. This one is Kilian Love. Don't be shy. I figured more Kilians would also make this list, but they were just under the 5,000 vote mark. But to see that many ladies be really enthused for this scent, I think is really cool. And I know it's introduced a lot of people into this brand. A lot of celebrities wear this stuff. Love is the real deal if you're looking for a sweet feminine fragrance. So we're talking really nice citrus florals to draw you in. We got some OB or orange blossom, some neroli, and that precedes the sugar and marshmallowy dry down that you are primarily going to get. And again, women love wearing this stuff, men love smelling this stuff off of women. At one point I did buy my girlfriend this scent. I think it's a real deal, and I think scents like these are really important in brands like Kilian, because Kilian's heritage of course is stuff that remotely smells like liquor, just boozy stuff like intoxicated, stuff like angel share, straight to heaven. And I feel like through scents like these, people, or women more specifically, will be introduced to stuff like that as well. So I think gateway scents are really important. I'm going to respect Love. Love is going to go into the A tier. Alright, moving on to the next fragrance now. Here we have Frédéric Malle Musc Ravageur. And this stuff might be the warmest take I've ever smelled on musk. So like we're talking really warm cinnamony facets, vanilla as well. And musk is already a note that I find really seductive, even like white cleaner ones. You warm it up with sultry seductive notes. On top of that, damn, this stuff is hella nice for cuddles and anything that follows that. Yeah, I'll just say that. But on the flip side, I must say that a good experience with this scent, at least for what I smelled off of me. Like I know sweet fragrances tend to bang off of my skin, but when I smelled this, it just smelled kind of pissy. And I personally didn't like that, and I don't think anyone would like that off of me. But I definitely do know that this scent works for a number of people out there, and I gotta respect it for getting people into musks, getting people into warmer scents, and it's definitely a really unique scent within Frédéric Malle's entire lineup. So in spite of my poor experience with this scent, I'm gonna give Musk Ravageur an A tier. Alright, moving on to the next scent. Here we have the only diptyque on this list, and this is Philosykos. And I'm not gonna lie, I personally love Olivia Jacobetti, the perfumer. I think she has a really cool way of making fragrances still really a part of whatever brand it is, but I feel like I can still smell her style there. Like whatever environment that she's going for with this scent, I just feel like she nails. So here I'm just thinking of antiquity and a tranquil environment and just chilling by fig leaves and trees, getting this green vibe from the leaves, getting this milky vibe from the fig. And I to this day think this is the best fig scent out there. And I know a lot of people out there really roll with fig, but this is also a scent that I wish I liked, but I don't, just because there's not enough else there for me to also like, because I'm historically not into fig personally. But I'm sure a lot of people out there would envy my skin chemistry per se when it comes to how big I feel like I perceive fig off of my skin. Because yeah, even Philosykos, which is known to be a more meager performer, I feel like bangs off of me for sure. But again, for all these reasons, again, I respect Olivia Jacobetti. Philosykos going in A tier as well. Alright, moving on to the second and final Freddy Malle of this list. Here we have Portrait of a Lady. And to me, Portrait of a Lady is lit. It's an aggressive take on rosy patchouli. Got some spices in there, stuff that resembles clove, incense. And I just feel like it's a really complex yet easy to follow rose patchouli. What else is there to say? The rose here isn't as sweet as some of the sweeter roses that I mentioned prior on this video as well, so it's definitely a more assertive, womanly take on rose. Funnily enough, I really like this scent, or love rather. And again, I guess I'm just a fan of when a scent kind of advertises itself as such and you get the picture upon whiffing that. So yeah, Portrait of a Lady, really respect this scent, and I think it is a landmark scent within the roster of Frédéric Malle. So guess what? Portrait of a Lady, S+. Alright, let's move along now. Here we go with the third creed on the list. This is Silver Mountain Water. And what else is there for me to say about Silver Mountain Water? If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you would know that I personally love this scent. I keep mentioning it. I really like that alpine-like tea freshness that you get in conjunction with that inkier blackcurrant note. However, I will say that the more recent batches of this scent are primarily more muddled smelling. When it comes to both the blackcurrant and the musk, I don't feel like this is a more alpine fragrance as much as it once was. Do I still think more recent batches smell good? The answer is yes, but I do feel like this scent has also fallen off in recent years. I don't know if it's more popular and thus the batch consistency isn't as strong, but I genuinely feel like it's something that I would have ranked at least S, but not so much anymore. And it pains me to do this because I love Creed so much, but for me, in 2022, Silver Mountain Water gets a B tier. Anyway, moving on, here we have the final Serge Lutens. This one is Un Bois Vanille. And like the name says, Un Bois Vanille, yes, it is a woody vanilla, but it's a very sweet and creamy one as well, accentuated by notes like coconut, sandalwood. I just really find this to be a really pretty creamy fragrance that is hard to dislike, but there's still not enough for me here to like, or love even, or for anyone to, for that matter. Like, I do feel like there's a little bit more of a rabid following for stuff like Ambre Sultan, Chergui, and possibly other Serge Lutens. So because of that, and because I feel like this scent gets lost in the shuffle of other vanillas out there, I will also put Un Bois Vanille in the B tier. Again, I think it smells great, but I've come across it many times over the years and I haven't pulled the trigger, which I can't say for a lot of the other scents on this list, but again, still respect the scent. All right, winding down now, here we have the fourth and final Creed on this list. This one is Virgin Island Water. So we're talking a vacation getaway of a scent, very tropical as far as the white rum vibe with the lime and the coconut. Got more of that Creed signature freshness is there as well. You can definitely tell that this is a Creed take on a vacation scent. And yeah, what can I say? It's also another scent I kind of just want to spend under the sun with and or on vacation with. But personally, at its peak, I don't think it's as great of a scent as, say, a Silver Mountain Water, a Green Irish Tweed, or Aventus. It's just something that I personally don't connect with as much. And variation on this scent has been especially wonky. So for the most part, I'm not a fan of that. And I think I will also have to give Virgin Island Water a B tier as a result. But we've arrived at the final stop, so here we go. It's Jo Malone London and Wood Sage and Sea Salt. And I would imagine that this stuff is truly its bestseller in store as well. So not just popular within the fragrance community, but with everyone else. And while Jo Malone London I think is a good entry-level niche brand and gateway brand to get people into niche fragrances, overall I just find the brand a little bit boring, way too minimalist, and too many scents just kind of fly under the radar. And in my opinion, good reason, just because the roster is too damn big and I just feel like it's kind of hard to go through that many scents that you kind of just pair this note with this and call it a day. But I will say though that Asians love this stuff. They're just trying to smell for themselves and or maybe their closest of loved ones. Like, this stuff is perfect. You know, if you're looking to not project, then it's great. And I think that this stuff right here, Wood Sage and Sea Salt, is definitely a top 3 for me if I had to pick one Jo Malone London to actually buy. So we're talking a tad woody, tad sea salty, and off of the skin, it gives this nice skin scent vibe, especially under the sun or if you're at the beach. I think this stuff smells really good under those conditions. But since it's a scent that I think I would get bored of, and largely the community as well, I don't think that with this scent's premier gateway status can I rank this stuff above or even at par with some of the scents on this list. So you know what, Wood Sage and Sea Salt is going to get a C tier. But yeah, there it is, guys. Hopefully I didn't offend a lot of you. If you guys want to do this tier list as well, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Maybe at me on Instagram with some of your results, and or tell me what you guys would rank where in the comment section below of this video. So yeah, thank you very much. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave me a like, and if you really enjoyed this video, also consider subscribing as well so we do more tier lists, more reactions, more reviews. And yeah, until then, I will catch you next time. So take care for now. Peace out. Bye. My name is Manny. Wear your fragrances.